You know, we all talk about the cloud, right? We picture our data just kind of floating around in space somewhere. But here's the secret. The cloud has a physical body. It lives inside these massive, very real buildings called data centers. And you better believe, just like any modern treasure vault, they are fiercely protected. So today, we're going to go inside and see exactly how these digital fortresses are secured. So that's the big question, isn't it? With our entire digital world, our photos, our emails, our work, humming away inside these buildings, what's actually standing guard over the physical heart of the internet? Well, the answer, it turns out, is this fascinating, multi-layered system of high-tech defense. Really, the best way to think of a data center isn't as just a building, but as a modern-day fortress. And like any great fortress, it has these concentric rings of defense. We're about to take a tour, starting from the outermost wall and working our way in, peeling back each layer to see the amazing tech that's hidden inside. All right, so our tour begins right at the property line with that first layer of defense, the fence. But don't be fooled, this isn't your average chain link fence from a backyard. Nope. Thanks to some truly clever tech, this fence is an active, intelligent sensor grid. And the magic behind this is something called a PIDS. That stands for a Perimeter Intrusion Detection System. To put it simply, PIDS is the technology that gives a totally ordinary fence the extraordinary ability to feel an attack, to know what's happening, and to instantly cry for help. Okay, let's dive into this for a second, because this is where it gets really brilliant. The most advanced systems use a fiber optic cable that's woven along the entire length of the fence. Now, this cable is constantly analyzing the fence's vibration patterns. It gets so smart, it actually learns to completely ignore the normal noise of, say, wind or heavy rain. But the second it feels that sharp, erratic signature of bolt cutters snipping a wire or someone trying to climb over, bam, an alarm is triggered instantly. So why is this fiber optic tech the gold standard for a place like a data center? Well, it boils down to three huge reasons. First, when it's tuned correctly, its rate of false alarms is incredibly low, and that's absolutely critical. It's also completely immune to any kind of electronic or radio interference, and, maybe best of all, it pinpoints the exact location of the attack, telling security precisely where to look along sometimes miles of fence line. Okay, but what if an intruder is really clever? Let's say they use a ladder to get clean over the fence without ever touching it. Are they home free? Not even close. They've just landed themselves in what's known as the sterile zone, an open area that's laced with invisible tripwires. These invisible traps are powered by what we call volumetric sensors. So for those straight lines, like in the sterile zone, you'll find microwave barriers. They create this invisible beam of energy between a transmitter and a receiver. You walk through it, you break the beam, instant alarm. Then for huge open spaces, ground radar takes over. This stuff can track multiple targets at once, clocking their speed, their direction, their exact GPS coordinates, and it does this flawlessly in fog, rain, or total pitch black dark. All right, so an alarm has been triggered. The fence was cut or an invisible beam was broken. Now what? Well, the system needs eyes. A security operator has to visually verify that threat, which brings us to the next layer, the advanced cameras. Basically, the all-seeing eyes of this whole fortress. But here's the thing. Not all cameras are created equal, not by a long shot. A standard camera, it sees reflected light, which means an intruder can just hide in the shadows. But a thermal camera, well, it sees heat, and this is a massive advantage. To a thermal camera, a warm human body glows bright white, like a light bulb, against the cool background, day or night. There is literally nowhere to hide. And this is the crucial point. Thermal is for detection. A standard camera is still needed for identification, to get a clear look at a face. And you gotta understand, these aren't just dumb cameras passively recording. They run powerful AI right on the device itself, what's known as at the edge. This AI can be trained to spot specific threats. So a person crosses a virtual line drawn on the screen, alarm. A car waits in one spot for too long, alarm. Someone leaves a backpack behind, the system flags it instantly, all on its own. So, okay, we've got our smart fences, our invisible walls, and our intelligent cameras. But right now, they're just individual instruments. Now for the final and most crucial step, bringing in the conductor that makes them all play together as a single orchestra. It's time to put it all together. This integration is called Slew-to-Cue, and it works at the speed of electricity. Here's how it all plays out. The moment a fence sensor alarms in, let's say zone 4, the system's brain identifies the nearest PTZ camera. That's pan, tilt, zoom. It then commands that camera to slew, which means it instantly spins, tilts, and zooms with absolute precision to that exact spot. The result? The security operator isn't frantically searching with a joystick. The threat is just there on their screen, perfectly framed in a split second. And this is the absolute game changer right here. Slew-to-Cue removes the two most dangerous variables in any crisis: human delay and human error. In the heat of the moment, an operator might look left when they should have looked right. This system doesn't make that mistake. It makes sure the camera is always looking in the right place at the right time, instantly. So let's assemble our digital fortress. Here's the blueprint for the ultimate perimeter. Layer 1, the fence. You install that fiber optic PIDS to detect any attempt to cut or climb it. Layer 2, the sterile zone. You add microwave barriers to catch anyone who manages to get over the fence. Layer 3, the eyes. You mount thermal cameras on every corner for 24/7 all-weather detection. And the final layer, the brain. You integrate every single sensor and camera with that Slew-to-Cue logic, creating one seamless, intelligent shield. So what we've just built here is an incredibly powerful defense against pretty much any threat coming from the outside. But it does leave us with one last kind of chilling thought. If the technology protecting the perimeter is this good, what is the biggest threat that's still left? What's the one thing it can't stop? Maybe it's the one that's already been given a key to walk right through the front door.